do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robin are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome back to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, WSMN.live, as well as YouTube Live. We are up in video form there. And I do, before we start the second hour of the show with Jen Carey, we're talking about internal family systems. We are dressed up like various parts of ourselves, which is so fun. So you want to check us out live. I do want to say that some of our favorite local MMA people, Autumn, remember Autumn?
Yes.
And Walter, who came on our show to talk about how they went to the World Championships in Brazil. They are headed off with, let me see, who else is the third person? Let me see here. Victor Lomme, Lomme. He's also going. So the three of them are going to be in Greece at an MMA championship.
Oh, my goodness.
We will keep you posted on their progress. We want to wish them the best of luck, everyone at Lisa and Robin on the mic, as well as the entire city of Nashua. And the entire state of New Hampshire is with you in spirit. We are wishing you the best. We want you to do fantastic in Greece and make us proud.
Yes.
We will hear from you when you get back. So good luck, guys. Good luck. And then we are here with Jennifer Carey. And we wanted to, first hour, we're talking about internal family systems. If you're just joining us, we are covered in costumes. We are just...
Where's your beard?
My beard is right here. It's a little Amish.
Hanging low.
It's a little Amish
There
at the
you go,
moment
there
because
you
I
go.
want to drink.
No mustache.
And as I talk, the hole isn't big enough for my lips, so I keep sucking in hair.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's uncomfortable.
So I'm going to be a little Amish with a low hanging beard.
A
No
low-hanging.
mustache at this moment. But
Yeah, you could just put it underneath your chin, you know, and like that you could just start a new fashion trend. Just the facial hair below the chin
no
line.
mustache, but just chin. It's kind of Amish when you do this with the
It's
beard.
beautiful.
And so Jen is here as her people pleaser and queen bee. Robin is here as her critical director and confident Marilyn Monroe. And I am here as the carpenter who loves to fix problems, and Jesus as the original carpenter who may sacrifice himself at any moment.
But we're learning not to do
We're
that.
learning not to do that.
Be more in balance.
The first one already did that.
Yes, we don't need to. And I do think that I grew up in Catholic school, and we learned that Jesus sacrificed himself to save us. And sacrificing yourself was like a major tenet in religion, you know, to serve and to sacrifice in yourself and all of that. And I wonder when you couple that, you know, you couple all of that rhetoric, you know, in young minds and all of that, and then you have some other things going on. It's like, oh, how much of it is just unlearning, you know, a systematic, even religious, you know, types of things. And of course, I do think spirituality and religion are actually really important, but when they serve us well. But we should not be laying ourselves
like
down.
religion really just like there's so many different religions. To me, you know, I grew up very Southern Baptist, and it was a very it's this way. It's just fire and brim, you know, hellfire and brimstone, and it's so concrete. What I'm actually learning is I look back and I feel very differently about religion. I wouldn't say I don't know what label it would be, but I feel like I'm more spiritual and more connected to my higher power than I ever have been. And I've only learned that by going in and learning me. And like that's what you're at, like asking ourselves, why am I feeling this way? Or laying down old, old philosophies, old belief systems, old things, asking, like, constantly doing like an internal, like, inventory, like just taking inventory of your emotions, of your feelings, and like, or your belief systems. Like, does this serve me? Do I really believe this? A lot of times, we get into something like we've been told something all of our lives, and now we're an adults, and I'm like, wait, I never agreed with that. Like, I don't have to do that. And that's so beautiful, to being able to say, I actually don't have to believe anything I don't want to believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and be able to question those messages. And that somehow, and sometimes we're delivered in such a punishing way, right? This or else. And just that guilt and shame that, maybe people didn't realize that would be the impact of them. Maybe it was all well intended to keep us in line and be sacrificial or whatever. But that when, again, the message is there and there's a lack of awareness, we can just be constantly punishing ourselves if we're being selfish or whatever the message is or the story is.
One thing that we wanted to talk about, and I like these words, and I'm going to talk about this as my fixer part. So my fixer part in real estate, especially in property management, that was a very useful feature because I was only ever called upon when there was a problem. The rest of the time, no one cares what you're doing or saying, or, because you're there really to fix problems. But one thing I said throughout my career for 23 years in property management was, I don't have the skill set for this. I'm not a trained psychiatrist. I am not part of the social service working network. And I'm here to fix the roof, to collect rent, to make sure the like, this is what my role is as a real estate broker, as a property manager. But I am constantly called on for these other things that I didn't feel like I had the skills for. But I felt the overwhelming need to fix. And so that became a constant battle of like a point of exhaustion, because I would be challenged to fix the building, but now I'm taking on personal problems of the tenants within them.
Yes.
And then when people see you're a fixer, they bring you their problem.
Yeah. Yes. They feel safe with you. They can trust you and lean on you. But within your system, something that's important is knowing if you don't fix, right? If you don't assume that role with them, let's say you draw a healthy boundary, exactly how you kind of opened up, and say, I'm here for this, this, and this, not this, this, and this, then what? Right? That would be to understand the parts, motivation and intention of showing up that way and not drawing the healthy boundaries. I think that's when you can find out a lot, right? Then who are you without fixing everything? Or that's what's underneath, right? Then we start getting in what's underneath with a sense of worth or identity or things like that.
So one of the things was we worked with the Greater Nashua Manchester Mental Health Group because, they are a subsidy that tries to get some independent living with some people who have some mental challenges. And there was one specifically, nice gentleman. I met him. He had some problems. And when he was okay, he was great. And when he was not, he was a detriment to the building. And every time we would get into these scenarios, he would pull all the fire alarms all day and night. And the fire department would have to keep showing up, and they're like, we're going to fine you. We can't keep coming to this building just because someone keeps pulling fire alarms.
Yeah.
And so I would go to the caseworker and say, what are we going to do about this? And they were like, if you could just work with us. I'm like, look, I'm responsible for the building.
Yeah.
I'm not a social worker. There's something I can't help you. I cannot help you here. But we are at a point where I'm going to have to throw him out. I don't want to throw him out, but he's not following the rules of the building. Right? You would get into these whole things, and they were like, we think it'd be really great if he could have a pet. And I'm like, I was a pet friendly company. So let me come in and see how he's doing. And I was like, I can't allow a pet. He doesn't care for himself. His trash is not out of the house. His clothes are not on the floor. His dishes aren't done in the sink. It is not fair to bring an animal who's going to rely solely on him to, he's not caring for himself. And then they're like, well, we really think this will be beneficial to his, growth and his mental health, which I do think pets are. I'm like, but who's responsible for this pet besides me? I don't need, I have, 27 families in this building. I can't have now him and a pet.
Yeah.
So there was this dynamic that was constantly happening, but there was the part of me that wanted to help him and for him to live independently. And I remember they ended up getting him a kitten, and I'm like, I want someone in here every week. I want this trash out of here. Like, don't make this another chore and another, like, now I have to stop in and check on him and his pet.
Right.
But now I'm worried about him and his pet.
Yeah.
And the pet did help a little bit. It gave him an incentive, like, you will not have this pet if this apartment isn't clean. Like, so it did, like, put some parameters and it gave him something outside of himself to care about a little bit. It was useful. And when he started painting.
Art, yes.
And his paintings were amazing. And I say, if you would want to hang these in the hallway, I'll hang them in the hallway. Like, they're beautiful. And so then he stopped taking his medication because he felt like he wasn't creative and he couldn't express himself in his art without the medication. That turned into a little bit of a thing too. But like, that's a perfect example of, I'm a property manager. I'm here to collect rent, make sure the refrigerator's working, that the property doesn't have a mice or bugs. But here I am in this whole other thing, and I did not.
I hear hanging artwork and getting him off his meds.
No, and I was like, but I think you need to take your meds. Are you not taking your meds when you're pulling fire alarms? Like what? Like, and then it's also, but there was the human side that you couldn't help.
Yeah.
And so I always used to joke, like, this is a terrible job for me. And other people would be like, no, you're perfect in this job. And it's like, no, because I never shut this off.
The temptation was there because you were dealing with people. You were dealing with people in social situations.
And
so
problems.
The temptation was already always there. But it sounds like there was something in your system that did a really good job of
at the expense of myself.
Collaborating with someone else, though, to be like, this is actually your field of expertise. Like, when they tried to put it on you, you pushed it back and you were like, oh, no. I'm not making sure he's taking his meds. I'm not making sure his apartment is clean. That's you.
Right. And if you need to come in here 3 times a week and not 1 time a week, so we're not getting this scenario. But again, it became another thing for me to manage and another reason why I didn't sleep at night. And another, like, it was.
Well, you're a nurturer.
Yes. I'm a fixer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a problem I was trying to help fix.
Yeah, and that part,
for example.
Yeah, and that part was taking it on, because what does it mean if you didn't?
Right.
Right, and then you also had the warrior part.
I had the warrior part, and then I had I have a fiduciary responsibility to the owner of the building.
Yes.
I put this person in, and they're either a productive member contributing to the health of this building or an unproductive member that needed to be evicted from the building. And and one of the challenges for me was people were like, they're working through some stuff, and it's like, as is everybody in life, I am responsible for this building. Don't make me kick, and then the parts where sometimes they would not this particular person, but sometimes no matter what you told them, like, look you were supposed to be a good tenant in this building. That requires taking your trash, all of these things. And when you don't, I am going to kick you out. And then you have a challenge with whatever, and now 2 children are leaving the apartment. Like, there was all of this emotional baggage to a job that wasn't supposed to have emotional baggage or only care about the envelope of this building.
Yeah.
So I think one of the reasons for me that I'm a great property manager, but it's not good for me because I can't separate the two. I know a lot of people who that's not my problem.
They have no problem. Just like having those clear boundaries, and
that's not mine.
That's not mine.
That
I'm
is
not
not
taking
mine.
Yep.
That's not mine.
Not mine to fix. They have their own journey. They can figure it out.
They're adults.
Not taking
that's
it
their
on.
thing. Yeah, that's not my job. I'm not being paid for that. Another big one. Like, are you? And a lot of times I would hear, like, you're not being paid for that. Like, stop wasting and allocating time because you're taking it away from what you are being paid to do.
Tough situation.
So,
yeah.
But it was interesting how long I did it knowing that it wasn't good for me at the end of the day. But how much of it was I hanging on to because it was.
You were getting something.
I was getting something.
You were getting something about being able to be the fixer.
Yeah.
Yeah. With your tool belt. Yeah.
I have my big tool right here. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my tool.
I'm being fresh. I'm being fresh. It's the wig. It's the wig, guys.
It's the wig. It's the wig.
I'm fresh anyways. I'm always actually
Well, so
fresh.
before you get into that, I wanted Jen to just talk about what we were talking about at the break, about just going in and giving people some tools to ground and to be able to get out of your head when you don't feel like you can get out of your head. Because
Yes.
how do you get back to your gut or your heart or, and being present?
Yes.
So I would like for you to talk about that.
Yes, and I know you were bringing up the example of being in a meeting again, where you don't necessarily have the freedom to fully explore what's going on. So we were talking about acute tools, like what's something that you can use right there and then that's quick, that won't be necessarily disruptive. If someone's in a meeting, they're feeling overwhelmed, they're bringing some worry or anxiety from something that happened beforehand. And we talked about the different tools that you can do in terms of connecting with your breath, in terms of finding a gesture that helps calm you. Some people tap, some people can do something visually, like we said, counting to 10 or counting back, naming different things in the room, white shirt, different things that can distract. Because in that acute time, you need to do it fast and you're around a bunch of people. But one of the things that I brought up with Robin during the break to share here, and Lisa, is that at the end of the day, there's something underneath. There is something that needs to be addressed. This constant avoidance is not going to be the antidote, right? And as Lisa said, what we resist persists. So you may not be able to do it right there in the meeting, but just having, my suggestion, my invitation is that you do the work, whether it's in therapy or whether it's with a healer or where you can start to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because there's a reason it's signaling, in my belief. There's a reason it's saying, look at me, something is going on. And so as long as we're going to ignore it, it's going to find a way to come out. And we can think of all the different ways to distract ourselves, but in the long run, it's still going to be there. And so, yes, we can find different tools and moments when we can't, sit with someone and actually do the exploration or do the work or however you choose, if you want to do energetic healing versus psychotherapy, or if you want to do some sort of artistic or creative expression, whatever intervention you choose to be able to express that discomfort, because it's there for a reason. And we're usually we just want to numb that out because it's just so uncomfortable. But once you deal with it, I promise you the charge will not be as high. You may have different layers, right? We talk about how here I am again. This part's here again. Yes, but it's not going to be as charged. And then you have that practice, whatever you learned in that journey. The next time you're in a meeting and it happens, it'll be different. You'll have something else. It won't be as charged, and you'll have something else.
And if you have a tool to fix it once, you'll have a tool and I think that's cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, you have this thing. What's a tool? What is one or two things you can do? Your breath work, paying attention to stuff in the room, because there's the neuroscience reason why, if you've been doing something for a very long time, there's a deep rut of a signal that happens the same way before even consciousness takes place. And the new wiring of the brain will take a little bit of practice.
Well, you're creating a new neural pathway. You're changing an old behavior, and that takes time, repetition. But
and your nervous system is depending how your nervous system is, one of the things that has never stopped being in my brain since it was said is, I think it was Descartes said the mind and the body are two different things, it's two different things, but actually there's nothing separate in the body. There is no separate system in the body.
There isn't.
The cardiovascular system, the hormone system, the autonomic system, the
everything's connected.
Everything is connected. And the worst thing we did in science was separate them, because the more we can learn that we are an integrated whole system that is happening all at the same time, there's no separate parts.
Exactly.
I
think that's beautiful. Like, it's what we're talking about with the IFS. It's, we're such a beautiful, complicated mess. And it really is. we should be excited and curious about finding out who we actually are, laying down labels, laying down old behaviors, programming, asking ourselves, why am I feeling anxious right now? Or why am I so upset right now? Or, I would ask myself, and I have said it with Chris, why are you angry? Why are you angry? Why are you so mad? Well, that hurt my feelings. Well, why did that hurt your feelings? Like, if you actually just keep asking yourself, what's the next best question to ask me? And you come to find out, it's usually something that's been way back in the past and not present. And so that kind of like when you just said it won't be so bad the next time. If you can ask yourself those questions, you kind of get like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, wow, I'm carrying this. And do I really need to be carrying this? I feel like that's how for me, that was my process of asking myself an next best question to, talk myself out of the wall or neighbor, leaf blowing all of Nashua. I mean,
that's right. That's right. Just put the leaf blower down, be one with whatever's happening, find out what's going on. It may be uncomfortable for a little bit, but it's amazing how once we stop and listen to it and see it, it's just like us.
Yes.
Right? Once we're seen and heard, we relax. Our parts are the same way. Once they're seen and heard and noticed and given that neutral, curious, compassionate presence, they calm. But we have to have that courage and connection to give it that space, which sometimes we avoid. We'll do everything to avoid it, but it really is the answer. Because now I can, I'll feel something, and there's a lot of connection. Speaking of mind-body connection in IFS, one of the first questions that you're asked is, what does it feel like physically when that part takes over? So now you have a connection. Like, I know that when my self-conscious part like kicks into high gear, I get this sense that I want to run a marathon. I get this like compulsion in my body that I just want to like blast somewhere. So then I know, I'm like, oh, I call her Stacy because she just wants me to stay safe. And so I know, I'm like, oh, that's Stacy, and now that I've worked with her, I'm like, all right, what are you warning me about? What are you upset about? And she's like, oh, is that really safe? Should you be sharing yourself in that way? And it's like, oh, Stacey, here you are again. So there is. It's.
Or what's the worst that can happen, Stacey?
Yes.
What is the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
Like, or is that really true? Is this really an unsafe space? Like, I think Byron Katie does the, is it true? Is it true? Is it true? Because, the first response is not necessarily the true response, but it's the automatic response or the habitual response of, is this true? Yes. Well, is it true right now?
Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Is it true?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I love the work that she does. Yeah. And sometimes it's just that pause and that investigation, and the part feels seen, the part feels heard, the part feels understood. You understand more. And it changes, it shifts it. The avoidance doesn't. I know it's there. We can't help ourselves sometimes because it's just so intense, and it's not said in like a judgmental or critical way. It's just an awareness for all of us. We tend to cover it with something else because it's just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and one of the things I was thinking of when you guys were talking, it's like when you talk about going back and touching something again, I think, there's only so many emotions we have. Right? So you're going to feel all of those emotions all of the time, all of your life. Right?
Yes, yeah.
And some of them, shame is not always a bad thing. Sometimes shame tells you should not be doing something.
Or there's like a conflict with a value.
A conflict with a value, right? So, it's important to not list the past as the reason why you're doing something today.
Yes.
And I think it's important to have as much of an eye on our future and what we want to happen, not what had happened. Because, as much as I want to dig into my childhood for things, I've been an adult for a very long period of time now. And I've taken control of my life as an adult for a time. So it's like, oh yeah. But then you're like, okay, well, this is a practice. Every single one of these is a practice. Being comfortable with discomfort is a practice. That's why people like yoga. They do that 30-day, do yoga every day for 30 days, you'll be a different person because you were sitting you were giving your time to develop a new habit of being uncomfortable in physical discomfort.
That's exactly it. Yes.
And
yeah.
I think yoga or a workout routine of any kind, however you want to do it, is a great way to sit with discomfort because you have to settle into it for a minute and just ride it out there for a little while and to be in that and to know that you survived it and you overcame it
That's
and
right.
you're okay in it. And it gives, that's a great practice, I think.
Yeah. So many benefits to exercise. So many benefits, but definitely that.
Because it was in my running practice that I leaned on my yoga practice of, oh, I'm really uncomfortable. Well, just sit here for a second. You know, there's a difference between pain and discomfort. Like, and you're learning all of those little nuances. Can you sit in this discomfort a little longer? Should you not sit in this discomfort? Is it pain? A little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like, when do you need to move your hand from the stove?
Yes. Yeah.
Type of thing.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah. Pain versus, I know my yoga instructor uses sensation.
Yeah. Yeah. They use better language. They're constantly coming up with like a more positive word and all of that stuff. Yeah. I love yoga for that. I wanted to talk about coherence and dissonance from a psychological standpoint. What do you think the two definitions of those are?
Well, I think about with dissonance, it's a lot of what we were talking about with the polarization. So it's when there is this conflict of beliefs, conflict of values. That's how I think of dissonance. And so my people pleaser part, right? Be kind, be thoughtful, do for others. Queen boss, no, I have something really important that I need to say. That's what I need and what needs to be done, right? That can be seen as a conflict until you do the work to kind of bring them closer together. So the dissonance is this sense of having a different belief or a different value. And I know with the other one you said is coherence, right? So that's just being clear and having that alignment. And I really think, I know this is getting really deep and we can think of a surface level example and bring it down. A lot of times really deep down, there is a similar value. There is something in common. And that's part of the work of the polarization. Like if people pleaser really gets to know queen boss and queen boss really gets to know people pleaser, they're both yearning for respect. They're both looking, right, for a sense of worth and
What's
respect.
the best for everybody?
Yes. So when you can take that time, a lot of times there is something that is similar. And I know the example you gave, if it's okay to use that again, was when your mom would be in recovery. And if there was any hint of maybe she slipped, there would be something would point it out. And that if you think what's underneath, like it's probably the same, everybody's valuing her sobriety, but your mom probably had the internal conflict. She had an inner critic. She had a judge that was like, you better not drink, you better not, you know, or just anything that she was trying to do in order to stand in that belief that the sobriety was better for her.
Well, I think I've talked about this on the show, but we learned, so my mother would constantly say she didn't feel loved by her mother, right? And my family was very secretive. And I think this was very common back then. You didn't air your dirty laundry. You didn't let people know what was going on behind closed doors. There was a very different attitude. It was like Oprah and Phil Donahue who came and gave voice to allowing that to even be witnessed by a group. I mean, that group didn't talk about divorce or...
Sure it wasn't Jerry Springer.
It was the positive.
That definitely brought some things to light.
The positive version was Oprah and Phil, I think, but I could be wrong. Oh my God, what was I saying?
I don't know, but
it was secrets. It was so secretive in your family. Yeah.
And so we held a lot of secrets in my family, and there was a lot of dissonance. And for her to reconcile some stuff, and she couldn't, but she wanted probably to. If my mother was allowed to be the person she wanted to be, she probably would not have been a mother. She probably would not have been married, and she probably would have explored different things.
Yeah, there's
But
that
instead,
dissonance.
she was a mother who was doing a job she didn't like in an environment she didn't like doing with people she had significant trust and issues with, right? And being required to be in that space. And when you think of it from that perspective, like with compassion of like, of course she was trying to numb herself out from this very wrong situation. And when we found out that she was like, and it's not that my grandmother didn't love her. My grandmother loved her, but there was a major secret in our family that when we found out that secret just a couple of years ago, it was the first time in my life since my mother passed that I was like, oh, I wish she was alive so we could talk about this. She was right. Something fundamental that she fundamentally believed that everyone told her she was wrong about was true. And what validation, like, but it changed the light on everything. And when I think about dissonance and coherence, I think there are all these different parts of ourselves. There's the person who wants to be safe, but the person who wants to be seen. There's the, we are opposites in so many ways. And how we are feeling on any given time may be, are we aligned in the right direction with coherence, or are we getting those parts further apart with dissonance?
Exactly. And the goal is to
align things.
Yeah.
Because then you're not fighting yourself.
Harmonize.
Yes. There's a great metaphor that's used by the IFS Institute that each part is like a sailor on a boat. And they're on each side of the boat, and they're so strong in their stance, but they don't realize that the boat's going to capsize if they stay strong in that stance. But the captain, self with a capital S, if they can be trusted by them, they can help them start to lean in, and then the boat will stay afloat, right? And that is it with our polarized parts. If they can start to lean into each other, like we were saying earlier, people pleaser and queen boss together is a kick-ass leader.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like those two parts can just makes a thoughtful, clear leader. I can't think of anything better than that, right?
Yes.
So that's the art. It's like, okay, how do we build trust that they each have something that's working, they each have something that's not working, but if we lean in
and bring the best parts together to be cohesive and to provide that, then you'll have less dissonance, you'll have less, anxiety.
Yes.
Because I do think there is sort of the quick fix hack, biohack. Like we all want things to be done quickly and efficiently and with the least amount of time possible and all of that. And there's productivity is important, but some things you can't biohack your way through.
Yes. Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is something to be said for doing the work that's required to have it done. We just don't seem to applaud that because we have a different mechanism, how we're viewing ourselves measured against other people.
Yeah. Those comparison parts.
But we usually always compare our negative parts to somebody else's what we see is their strongest parts. When you're talking about the boat, it made me think about like how we want cohesion in all of our parts. It made me think about a choir, like a big, a symphony or when they all get together and they harmonize, it's beautiful. But, trying to get them to sing, on hit this note and hit that note. But when it comes together, it sounds like chaos until it all comes together. And sometimes that's how it feels is chaos in your body.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes we need the chaos in order to create order.
Yes.
And so one thing I wrote down about the self-sacrificing as I wrote this as an example because I think this is the quickest example that people can identify with. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to eat better or cook at home. I don't have time for things, right? And I work hard. I work a lot of hours. I have traffic. I have this. I have that. I have to take care of so and so. There's no room or time
For Lisa.
for me for that, right? And then, but the question to ask, okay, there's no time, but at what cost?
Right.
That's the question so that you're not nailing yourself up to a cross, yelling, to the people below, that you can't take care of yourself because of, we don't have time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I talk to my spouse, he's always like, oh, going food shopping. He knows how much effort and energy is to making healthy foods at home.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always trying to like alleviate me from that chore because so much work goes into it.
Wow,
And-
great partner.
Right? But what I say is alleviate the stuff that's not working for us. Right? Because when I eat out all the time, yes, I've alleviated this huge thing, but it's at the cost of my health. It's at the cost of my weight.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the cost of knowing I'm doing something that is not actually good for me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm taking a cheater way out by having I'm outsourcing it to somebody else. I would rather outsource something that is not as important to me
Mm-hmm.
and keep cooking at home on my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing you do is, well, I'm working, I'm doing this. Yes, let's go out to eat. There's no time. Let's go out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
When it's really at what cost? Give up something that is not as beneficial and keep the thing that is beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, and that's kind of the negotiation that has to happen, right? Who is the one that's saying? Who is the part that's saying there's no time, right? So is it a work part? You know, worker Lisa that's like no time. We've got to do this, this, and this, and this. And can the part of you that knows that eating a fresh, healthy meal at home serves you so well? How do you negotiate with the worker part? Like, hey, listen, I'll be able to work that much smarter if you just like give me some space. Give me some space and let me like create this healthy meal.
Yeah, because what it doesn't, and I know that doesn't seem like an important one, but I
Oh, yes.
actually think
It is.
what we put into our bodies actually affects our mental health.
That's right.
It affects our
right.
physical health so much.
It does.
And I've always wanted to outsource it
Yeah.
because it's so convenient to have someone else do it, and it tastes so good when someone else does it, and I don't have to deal with it when someone else does it. But it's the dissonance part.
And don't you love cooking too?
I do love
yes,
cooking.
it's like a passion of yours. It's like a shortcut to joy for you.
Yes, and there's something satisfying in a tangible. I like creating things with my hands, so I didn't realize I liked sewing as much as I did until I started doing it. I like doing things with my hand. I like making things with my hand, and dinner's a quick way.
Yes.
Lunch is a quick way. And even though you're not making this fat, like you don't even have to make something amazing.
Yeah.
But just doing something tactile and then being able to enjoy like the fruit of your labor immediately
Yeah.
has like a satisfaction that I can't reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can reproduce it, but it takes longer in more ways. And so that's one of the things where I'm constantly saying, you know, but take something off my plate and leave the cooking in. The cooking serves me in so many ways. It gives us healthy food, and I know how much effort it takes, and I know how much time it takes and all of that. But I would rather offload another thing, not offload that thing. But society gives us that thing to offload in spades.
I know.
There's 100 restaurants. Just go pick up something. It's quick. It's easy. It'll deliver it to your door.
Yeah. And society is definitely pro work as well. Like
Yes.
choose work over taking care of yourself, and yeah, so many layers to it,
Yeah.
right? And going back to what we said earlier, just that individual investigation of finding out the different reasons why the parts feel like they have to hijack and take away that time or believe that there isn't time.
Yeah, like I was thinking, I used to get the Shaw's in Nashua on Jenny Webster Highway makes amazing fried chicken, and they make it fresh. And if you get there at 5 o'clock, you'll get fresh fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And then I would come home and make the sides. And he would be like, if you're buying the fried chicken, just buy all the sides. And I'm like, he's right. I'm so silly. Then I'm coming home and peeling potatoes, right? And then I pick up the back of the mashed potatoes, and I'm not exaggerating. There were like 46 ingredients.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, mentally, I can't do this. I know that this, I'm right back to making potatoes from scratch
Yeah.
because I don't need 46 ingredients for mashed potatoes.
Yes,
I need
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
I need butter, milk, potatoes, and salt.
Well, a little bit of sour cream. I always put a
Sour
little
cream,
in.
yeah.
Yum.
Instead of milk, yeah.
Yummy.
Yes,
Totally.
yes. And
But-
I hate gravy out anywhere else. Homemade gravy or it's nothing.
Yeah.
It always tastes processed.
Yeah.
Always tastes.
I feel that
Like
way
chemicals.
about pesto. I always make my pesto from scratch because I feel like any bottled or jarred or packaged
got some
pesto
other stuff in it.
just doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
I'm not a big pesto person, so
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah. But there's an example of someone like
Yeah.
trying to help me.
Yes,
Yes.
and an inner part. Is that what you're saying? Like an inner part that values health, that values the sense of joy you get from cooking, and that part can be in dissonance or conflict with the parts like, no, you got to work.
Right.
You
Is
can't.
this the
You don't have
best
time
use
for
of your
this.
time? Is this best use of your
Yes.
time and resources?
Yeah, and so then they those two have to kind of learn from each other and realize, right, that they can actually be a really good team.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thought that was kind of a simple one because we think, I can't tell you how many times there will be something on work weighing on my mind, and I think, well, I have to do that, not work out.
Yep.
And you can put yourself last or convince yourself these other things are more important.
Yeah. And having that curiosity and compassion and investigating that is really interesting, right? Because if you do approach the workaholic, which you might want to approach it, or the working part, not to label it that, but the hard working part, whatever name lands.
Survival.
Yes, right? Like exactly. If you really say, if you get to the bottom of it, it may be something that we pulled from our families, right? That like you have to work. It may be something with this economy. Like there's ways that we can really soften towards that part and have it be seen and heard because it's doing it for a reason. It may be a detriment, but there's a reason for it, and being able to give space for that as well.
And if we look compassionately to 40 years ago, no one took their work home with them. If you took your work home, you had to bring it in a suitcase on a
Honestly.
piece of paper and do some work at home. But
Right.
now the impetus,
So many factors.
because it's never not there, and everyone knows you have access, and everyone knows they have access to you.
Yeah.
It's something that would probably be difficult to work with just from the challenges of everything we just said, survival and all of that. And then there's another, and these tools which were supposed to help us, now make it that. How much are they helping?
Or
Yeah.
that distracts us and overwhelms us. And
Yeah.
I just said, time blocking, I think, helps a lot with people who say that they don't have time. Like, not you, but a lot of times
No, I could
we'll
use
say,
time blocking.
no, but not when you just said you don't have time to do this or time to do that. It's being able to lay down, when I said, the overworked or the workaholic, ask yourself, how much do I really need to do this? How much is this going to impact, if I stay, instead of working 8 hours today, or, instead of working 12 hours today, how can I get what I need to get done in 8 hours or 9 hours? Restructuring how you spend your time, or even asking yourself, do I really need to put this much effort and energy into work today? See, I'm always about like, hey, how do I get away from work? And I just have fun. And I was like, wait. But even so if you want to do the workout, when we find the time when we really want to do something.
And I think it's so funny because when you do the work, she goes, "Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby." Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby? Right? Like it's some juju she's gonna get on her. But she's not a hard worker. She's always doing something. So the question that I would want to reframe is, what work would you find satisfying, or would you be?
It's not even work. It's like play.
Right. Right.
Leaf blowing.
But I
Yes.
do, right?
Yes.
But to me, the idea of leaf blowing is the last work I
Yeah.
would want to do.
Yeah, that's true. It does feel like
With
a lot of work.
with a hum,
Yes.
and the reason why certain work to me, laundry work.
Yeah, I don't like
There's
laundry.
certain work that it's never done. When you clean, the second you stop cleaning, dust is falling in the sky onto the credenza.
Yeah. I see it landing as we speak. See, I like to cook. I would outsource mine if I could. I mean, I like
You
to
would
cook-
outsource cooking?
sometimes. Like we rarely go out to eat because every time we go out to eat, we're mostly disappointed. But so I like cooking meals. I don't like cooking the everyday meals. Like I like to create something. And sometimes I don't like the stress of coming up with something new every day.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
There's a lot of decision making.
So I'm like, oh, that sounds good. But then I'm like, oh, I don't have that ingredient, or I don't have this, or, you still have kids at home sometimes. Well,
Adults at home.
adult kids and stuff. But so you still have like taco night, so like I make my own salsa, but I don't like the routine cooking I just that's where I'm like, I would outsource that.
Well, we came up, we should have this podcast called What's for Dinner, and you come on for 5 minutes a day and you give people ideas of what's for dinner,
Oh.
because that's where mostly we're like the paradox of choice. When I was growing up, people weren't worrying what there is for dinner. Wednesday's spaghetti, this day is this day is this. You're having canned asparagus. There wasn't a lot of culinary wisdom going on in the world I grew up in. Now it's, do you want Thai? Do you want this? Do you want steak? Do you want chicken? Do you want, like, we have all these choices and we're going off of mood. Right? So then
Yes.
that adds like a whole nother element. Now you might be sitting with 4 people. I don't want Mexican. I don't want this. And then now you're playing short order cook. Of course. That's like overwhelming and stressful. Whoever cooks gets to decide what we're eating. Right? That could be something that's really super simple.
That's true, but
You
I don't
know?
like to be the one to pick it all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, because I will go through my head. Do I want this? Do I want that? You said pork chops the other night, and I was like, oh, that sounds good with gorgonzola and apples. I'm like, that sounds really good.
Which,
sound really good.
speaking of,
Yum.
are we going to stop
No
today
idea.
to say a very special happy birthday?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Chris's birthday's today.
Happy birthday, Chris.
So if I were a better
Birthday, Chris.
singer, if I were a better singer, I would serenade him, but that's not going to happen.
Right, that's
so.
your birthday gift. Is we're
Yes.
not singing to
A
you on
big
air.
shout out. That is your gift.
Aw.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chris. So I just wanted to say that real quick before we forgot. The whole hour ran
I know.
out.
I have to go shopping when we leave here. Like, I was going to do it yesterday, and then I got so distracted.
Yeah. So in the last 5 minutes, what are some other things we can discuss that we should discuss that we haven't discussed yet?
Well, I think just the idea, what we did today, I think, is we had fun.
Yes.
And just that healing isn't always work. It can be fun. And having like this as an expression. Like, I love the idea of people really taking this and dressing up as their parts for Halloween.
I love it. I love
Right?
it.
It's fun. I hope that each of you have learned a little bit more about yourselves. I know I did too. Like,
Yeah.
just taking the time to dress up this way and like think about, you know, what part are they both protecting, the people pleaser and the queen boss, like just that and then the creative expression. But it was very light and fun, but deep at the same time. So that's it can be light and fun.
Yeah.
I was trying to. What's the IFS movie?
Oh, Inside Out.
Inside Out. They have a 1 and 2. So
Yes.
if you don't understand what we're saying about IFS, it is such a cute movie, even for adults. It's kind of just gives you a different perspective of all of your emotions. It's just cute. It's cute, and I think it just hits home because they do have that duality, and there are. Then the second one, she's a teenager, and so here comes anxiety and jealousy and all of these things and how these characters show up. It kind of just like naming like Stacy, and everybody's got a Karen in there somewhere, I'm sure.
So that's an interesting emotion, jealousy. Do you? Is there any place where you feel jealousy?
No, actually, in my first marriage, I felt, but I also didn't feel safe. Yes, but I didn't feel like I mattered. I didn't feel, so it was intimidating, and I was intimidated a lot and it was, some of it's made to be felt intimidated, but I always felt like not enough. And I had battled that growing up. I just didn't have the words for it, about, hey, you should be proud of me. I came home. I'm 15. I don't even have my driver's license, and I got a job, and I'm already making money. And here I go. I've got and it was like putting out your candle and just not feel like I always felt like I wasn't good enough. And that relationship always made me feel like I wasn't good enough. So no, I don't. Chris did a really good job helping me to lay down jealousy. And then having kids, being able to watch them go through insecurity and go through puberty, being able to, like, what would I tell her? I don't want her to feel insecure. I don't want her, I want my kids to love themselves, because it took me a long time to learn how to love me. So I was always building them up and saying that they're proud, and I didn't want her to have to feel jealousy or inadequate, because we're so different and we're all beautiful in so many different ways that there is no need to be envious of like even other people's stuff. You know, I don't. What about you?
I notice that I get jealous, like authors specifically, whenever that's the group I will be jealous of the most, and it's putting a highlight on that's something I still want that I need to do.
That's a beautiful reframe,
Yeah.
right?
That is good.
And that's an example of the part, like being like, look at me, I have something I want to say. I really want to be an author, right? If you just take the time to listen to them, because it may come out funny, but if you take the time to understand them, I just want you to write your book. I want you to have that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that it was the first thing I ever wanted.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin and I used to make books and hand them to each other, like the yarn. No, we were like, because we were readers.
Oh.
So it was like,
Love that.
this touched me. I need to do that.
Yes.
Like, I need to touch that back. How about
Yeah.
you? Do you have
A jealousy thing?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it happens with, I actually can relate speakers and authors, because I really want to, you know,
express yourself?
express
that way.
myself in that way. And so sometimes like when Mel Robbins had her Let Them book, you know, go,
Yeah.
and she met Oprah, I was like, And I was like, Jen,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, she's shining in her own way. You're different. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best messages is you're unique, right?
Yes.
You're unique. There's no one else like you.
Yeah.
And all
So
your
it's true
parts.
that I have moments of it where I've like, oh, maybe envious.
Yeah.
I like the word envious better than I do
Yes.
jealous.
Yeah.
But I envious, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with me. I'm happy with my life.
Jen, you are unique and amazing, and we are
Thank
so
you.
grateful that you
Yes.
came
so
in
wonderful
for a
to be
second
here
time.
again.
Thank you so much, Jen.
So much fun.
Thank you for tuning in to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. Till next week, have a good one.
WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. This is day 30 of the federal government shutdown. Some air traffic controllers are having to go to food banks to feed their families, and SNAP food assistance will run out of money starting on Saturday. ABC's Jay O'Brien's at the Capitol.
The White House has now announced a plan to cover paychecks for U.S. troops coming due tomorrow, but tensions still flaring on the Senate floor over that critical federal food assistance that's set to expire in just 2 days. John Thune, the top Republican in the Senate, shouting at Democrats as he blocked a bill that would fund SNAP food assistance during the shutdown. Instead, Thune calling on Democrats to vote to reopen the government.
President Trump said overnight he had reached a trade deal with China. Now the president's on his way back from his Asia trip. Drug maker Eli Lilly says its top-selling weight loss and diabetes drugs Mounjaro and Zepbound brought